Welcome back, everyone, and this is part 2 of the rabbit hole rim and primer gauge, also known as the RPG. So far, after just doing the setup and the rim thickness measurements, I am very impressed. Today we are going to go over the primer pocket depth and the primer seating depth. You should definitely check out this tool at rabbitholeprecision.com. For me, the best part of it all is its simplicity and the fact that I can now get a reading in the 10,000ths of an inch using my existing Primal Rights primer gauge with a very simple swap from my primer seating depth measuring setup. If you find this video helpful, please hit subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, leave a like, and if you'd like to donate, head over the donate link for just $3 a month. Now, let's measure this stuff up. Well, might as well start out with the easiest thing first. So first we're going to do is we're going to measure primer height or thickness, whatever you want to call it. So the way I have mine set up, the first thing I got to do is take all this other RPG stuff off. And it says to take the plunger off too because they got their own plunger. So now I'm going to have to put on the RPG, and you know I put mine on backwards because the way I'm using this and the way the plate lines up. So there we go, that's mounted. Then it says to take the proper size plunger they have. So they have two plungers. See if I can show these to you. They have a small primer and a large primer plunger. So I'm using small primers. So it looks like I have to use this adapter first. The one with the hole in it and the one that's threaded on top. So I got to put that into my gauge first in order for it to accept this small primer plunger. Okay, now I got the small primer plunger in there. Okay, then you take the appropriate size primer plate. So I told you I had these two primer plates, LPP and SPP. Suppose that's large primer plate and small primer plate. So you would slide that down over there. I gotta spin it around. Oh, this looks way too simple. Take the Allen key that they supplied, the one that I said is just the right size because I don't know what it is and don't care. Yeah, see, these recess nicely underneath there. Now, in order for me to do that, this has to be off stand. So I have to take this off my stand. So you got to have a good flat surface. So this stand is nice because this is a marble machined down. All right. Then you just take your primer, apparently, and you set it on your plate, and you put your gauge over it. And that primer thickness is 0.1201. Let's move to another one. Why is it not coming up? Oh, my thumb was on it. Again, set it down on the primer. This one is 0.1192. Well, this is easier than doing it with my other one, I'll tell you that. Make sure it's down all the way, 0.1203. Too bad there isn't a better way of guiding this down on the primer. I'm trying not to get in front of you, so. Okay, 0.1205. If you use two hands, it's easier. So anyways, there's our part for measuring primer height. Alrighty then, moving on to primer seating height. Now this is basically the same. I put this back on. Oh, I'll turn my gauge back around. I put this back on because now this is for use with the stand. This all depends on how you're going to use yours. This is the way I use mine, so now they say the only addition to this is it's set up the same, but we have to put this CP2 plate on. This will go on over the top of this, and you would, it shows to be swinging it over, so let's see. I'm going to have to take one of these out all the way. Make sure these holes line up. No, it has to go this way. Then I'm going to put this screw back in. Not all the way, just obviously I'm going to have to push down on this. See, that's why you use a second plate, so you can zero it out. So now I'll take this screw out. No, actually I'm going to leave that screw plate tight too. And I want to tighten this one also. So now we're pressing down on our plunger. So I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to zero it off. So now it's pressing down on the bottom side of this, which is the same as the top side is the plate underneath it. So when I zero this, all right, we're zeroed. Now I'm going to swing this over. I see. This makes sense. So this screw I have to take out all the way now. Got to swing this over. Make sure everything aligns here. Well, somebody did some pretty good thinking here. Now we should be way off zero now. Yeah, because that plunger came up that much, 0.1920. When I use my setup from Primal Rights, it's usually 0.1833 or 1834. Let me get some rounds here. Okay, so these are for Saturday's match. So I don't even think we got to read the directions at this one. Just set it in there. 0.58. This is way different readings. Yeah, this is way different. .50. 0.53. 0.52. 0.52. They're all within my standard that I used plus or minus 3, because when I seated these on the primal rights, yeah, these are like 0.52, 53, which is good. That's within the 3,000s. That's what you get for having that bracket on the primal rights primer. I don't like how you can't, it doesn't hold it steady. Could be just me. Yeah, so 0.0052. So you see how good these are. They're just giving me a little different reading. And it could be because the two plates sitting on top of each other. I don't know. But I'm going to show, you know what I'm going to do? I want you to look at all of these. Yeah, this is harder to balance them on here, right? 0.0054. They're all really tight. Really tight. There's no way we got one that's 0.47. Okay. 4948. I should be able to take this off. Take their stem off. Put in the primal right stem. Okay. Put on the primal rights collar, whatever this is called. Then put on its cap. Oh, nope. Hold on. First I gotta zero it. Zero. Put on its cap. .0065. 0.0064. 0.0063. 66. 65. 66. 62. 61. 65 again. Yeah. So for some reason, this is giving me, the rabbit hole gauge is giving me almost, I'd say a half a thousandth, 5/10,000ths of an inch shorter of a reading than I get with this setup on the primal rights gauge. And this for me is harder to use than this. This has got a deeper collar, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm used to it more, and it could be the angle I'm sitting at. Okay, now we're gonna do primer pocket depth. Yeah, so you can see where this is not gonna work out for me, which is okay, because I already have this setup. And this setup does 99% of what I wanted to do. The only thing I was missing was being able to read rim thickness. I mean, I was able to read it into just the thousandths, and that was with the dial gauge, and that was with my homemade jobby. So this is for rim thickness only for me. But for you guys, this one tool does it all. It does rim thickness, it does primer height, it does primer pocket depth, and it does seating depth. Okay? So this is just for me. I'm saying that, you know, I'm going to only use it for one thing. And maybe not even that, because as I said in the last video, I don't need to measure rim thickness anymore. There's no need for me because I have my primer set up so I come plus or minus 3/10,000ths of an inch. So it says this is to be used the same way as, okay, so I'll have to take this out, the primal rights plunger, and put back in their plunger, the adapter with the, this adapter is for the primer size plungers. There's a large and a small, for large rifle primers or small rifle primers. So apparently now I can take this top plate off. We won't be needing this. So all we need is the small primer hole one, the SSP, like we used for measuring the primer height. They say it's the exact same setup as for using primer height. Oh, at least it can stay on the stand now. Wait a minute, how do I zero this out? Oh, I see. Okay. So I can put this on. Actually, it doesn't have to be backwards now. So there we go. So now for me to zero it, I'll just use my block. And zero it. Now, I got some brass right here. Primer pocket depth here says 1220. 1220. 1221. Well, my final thoughts on this are, there are two things that I'm a little disappointed in. And the first one is when you're measuring primer height, it's really hard to center it over the primer. It's kind of a difficult job. It does the job. It's fine. It's nowhere near as easy as using my setup, the Primal Rights Primeware gauge, but it works. The second thing is in primer seating depth, it just seems like it doesn't want to get a good flat seat, when you're trying to measure seating depth. It comes close, but it gives me different measurements than I get on my gauge, which has been stable and steady for a long time. So it could be on the top, the base where my shell sits on my Primal Rights Primeware gauge is polished steel. This is kind of rough plate. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but that's my finding. So for anybody out there that doesn't have a gauge at all, this tool is a good starter. I mean, it'll get you to where you need to be. It'll help you out. It'll give you answers. But don't forget, you're going to have to get a good gauge also. Don't get a gauge that just reads in the thousands. You're leaving way too much open in the ballpark. You need to read in 10,000s. So that's my result on that. And if you found this interesting or learned something, I hope, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell for all notifications. Leave me a like. And if you feel like donating, go to the donating link. Thank you very much.